we're no longer working on our food habits campaign. We're done with it. We did our practicum, we turned it in, we analyzed our data, we had our statistical questions. Okay, now we're looking at a new set of data. So you guys are going to have to start collecting data again. So you will need the IDS UCLA app. Okay, if you do not have that downloaded, then you need to make sure you have it downloaded ASAP. But hopefully most of us have it downloaded because we've been using it for the last 2-3 months, right? Okay, so we are talking about Americans' time on task, all right? And with this, our objective for this lesson is very straightforward. It is an introduction to our time use campaign. So our entire purpose is to be introduced to our time use campaign. This campaign is essentially about how we use our time, how I use our time during the day, how much time we spend on specific things during the day, okay? So you're going to explore the New York Times multimedia graphic titled How Different Groups Spend Their Time to spark your interest about how you spend your time, okay? You will begin to learn how to evaluate reports that make claims based on data, okay? So you're gonna learn how to evaluate reports that make claims based on data, and you're gonna do this by reading the Washington Post article, Teens Are Spending More Time Consuming Social Media on Mobile Devices, okay? So the essential concept for today is that learning to examine other analyses made by other people is an important part of statistical thinking, okay? So it's not enough for us to make our own analyses and make our own graphs and find our own conclusions. We also want to understand how someone looked at a given graph and made an analysis and interpretation based on their information, okay? It's a very important part of statistical thinking. It's that backwards thinking, okay? So our first thing is we're going to be writing in our journal, okay, our IDS journal. So we have 4 questions. How do I spend my time? Is there a difference between how females and males spend their time? Okay, how we spend too much time doing homework. So this one, number 3, is worded kind of weird. So I want your opinion about how we spend too much time doing homework. Do you think we spend a lot of time doing homework? Do you think we don't spend a lot of time doing homework? Do you think the time that we spend doing homework has changed, right, within the last couple of years? So what's your opinion on that? And then your opinion on how is my time use similar or different to other Americans? So thinking about how other Americans spend their time, how do you think your time use is similar or different? So I'm going to give you guys 4 minutes, okay? You're gonna have 4 minutes to write your answers to these questions in your journal, okay? Your section 3 IDS journal that you just made a copy about, okay? So you have 4 minutes and I'm starting the timer now. You guys are answering these in your journals right here. It's these 4 questions right there. Okay.
Ms. King.
Yes.
For the first question, how it says, how do I spend my time? Like, do we list what we do that might like consume our time or something?
Sure, that's one way of doing it, or you can just give me general categories of like, what do you normally spend your spend time doing during the day?
Okay.
No problem.
Okay, opinion. I think I know what you meant to say for the third question.
Say that one more time, Alexander.
I said I think I know what you meant to say. You meant to say how much time do you spend doing the homework?
Yeah, something like that, hun. I kind of made the question a little bit more vague.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, guys. So for the sake of time, I would like one person to volunteer to answer each question, if at all possible. So I'm going to clear here. If you would like to volunteer to answer one of these questions, please raise your hand. Okay, the first one being is, how do I spend my time? Okay, so since Alexander was our first volunteer, Alexander, go ahead.
I spend my time doing my homework and looking for scholarships for the college that I want to get accepted to.
Good. Okay, that's great. So that's what you homework and scholarships, right on. Thank you for that. I'm sure most of us have stuff like cooking, cleaning, homework, maybe video games, right? Okay. Thank you, Alexander. Can I get someone else to volunteer to share? Is there a difference between how females and males spend their time? Working? Yes, Evelyn. Is there a difference? Can I get someone else, please? Someone different. I want you guys to speak up in class. Okay, Dario says, yes, everyone has different priorities, difference on how females and males spend their time. But in general, what are some generalizations that we can make? What are some generalizations we can make here? I'm sure we all use the same apps. True, right? I'm sure Janelle, you're referring to social media apps like Instagram, TikTok, maybe Snapchat. I was going to say Facebook, but I don't think any of you use Facebook anymore or ever used Facebook. But I'm sure you guys use like WhatsApp and things like that, right? Okay, Natalie, thank you for that difference. Guys normally play games and females are on their phones. Interesting. Females may be more prone to social and males may be more prone to games. Yeah, Natalie and Daria kind of agree. Okay, I can see that. In my other classes, kids have said stuff like, females spend more time with their hair and their makeup, guys spend more time playing sports kind of deal. So they went really for that stereotypical stuff. But you guys are very much sticking to more detailed stuff, which is great. I like it. Good job. Yep, Chris went there. And let me be real with you guys, okay? Yes, ladies might spend a lot more time doing their hair. I'm sorry, doing their makeup, but I cannot discount the time. Like I feel like guys spend so much time doing their hair. Sometimes it's ridiculous. And for a little bit of hair, it's crazy. They're so detailed. But that's very true. We do. Homer Simpson haircut, yes. Okay, what do you guys think about the homework? Okay, what do you think about the homework? How we spend too much time doing homework? Do you think we do spend too much time doing homework? Do you think we don't? Do you think we spend more time now than we did before? What do you guys think?
I think I mean, for me, it depends how much homework I have. That's where it depends for me. Like, if I don't have a lot of homework, it'll take me like 30 minutes or less to finish it.
Okay.
But usually, if I have a lot, probably about 1 hour.
I'm hearing a lot of kids say this, which is interesting to me. That you guys feel like you spend more time figuring out what to do for the homework versus actually doing it. And it's interesting because I was under the impression that, most teachers give pretty detailed explanation of the homework, or it's like an extension of the classwork. So it should be, you know, it should be pretty self-explanatory. But I guess a lot of you guys are saying that there isn't enough clarification. Is it possible that you guys are leaving too much time between like the classwork that it's connected to and actually doing the homework, and therefore forget what it was that you were doing in the class? So there's that possibility there too, right? Because usually homework is an extension of classwork. So, but it's interesting that you guys are saying that. That's definitely something that we don't hear you guys share with us very often. So I'm seeing a lot of you guys sharing in the chat about homework use. We spend too much time now because some people don't understand and slack off more now. Okay, that's very much a possibility. Probably why people spend too much time, since sometimes we miss a couple things during the lesson. Absolutely. There are people that spend so much time on homework because they are confused and are used to doing in class and don't get the full understanding. Absolutely. I think that definitely right now, I don't know, one of the reasons why I was trying to avoid giving you guys homework so much is because of that fact. Like I try to give you guys the in-class time so that I'm here. So if you have questions and you have a confusion, you can ask. Unfortunately, a lot of you guys don't take advantage of that. So you guys really need to start advocating for yourselves and taking advantage of the fact, like, the teacher is here. Let me ask a question. All right. For time's sake, I'm going to move on from the how is my time used similar or different to other Americans. Unfortunately, I don't want to keep you guys past like 12 o'clock. So I really do need to move on for that. I hope you guys don't mind. But thank you for sharing for those other three. You guys are amazing. And I look forward to reading the answers to the last question on your journal when you turn it in at the end of the section. All right. All right. So that being said, we're going to be looking at a graphic. Okay. based on data that's collected by the BLS. Now, what is the BLS? The BLS is an acronym for the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Okay, so the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, collects data about Americans' daily time use. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics, these are the guys that collect data on like unemployment rates, and they collect data on, you know, who's employed in what industries. They look at in different industries, they look at, you know, how many female are in that industry, how many male are in that industry. So they collect data from employers as well as different people. Okay, so we're going to be exploring their some data that they collected on daily time use through an interactive graphic. Okay, so the New York Times graphic, the link that you see on our section 3 page, it's this link here. I'm going to put it in the chat in a second, but let me explain the directions first. Okay, so you are going to be on this link, you're given a graphic about how people use their time during the day. Okay, how different groups of people use their time during the day. So based on this data, or based on this graphic, you're going to answer these 4 questions in your IDS journal. Okay, you're going to answer these 4 questions in your IDS journal looking at the graphic. What variables are represented in this graphic? Explain what the graphic is telling you. Where did the data come from? And what are some interesting findings that you see from the graphic? Be prepared to share that. Okay. So someone is asking me to go back. Here you go. But let me also, I apologize. Let me also get the, sorry, hold on. Let me get the link for the graphic here since someone needs to see that. The link for the graphic, again, is also on the section 3 page. Okay, but here it is in the chat itself. Okay. And this is what you should essentially be seeing. I will share the screen in a moment once I think we're good. Okay, here we go. So this is essentially the graphic you should be seeing. Now, if you don't have Flash, there might be a way for you to allow it. So I'm going to show you this. So everyone, please make sure you're looking at my shared screen. Okay, everyone make sure you're looking at my shared screen. If you come over here, I swear this one Flash thing is making it so much harder to figure things out. So what did I do there, guys? I went to the little 3 dots here, and I clicked on settings. Okay. And under settings, if you type in Flash in the search area, there's one thing that pops up here for site settings. Okay. Under site settings, it should come up here under Flash. And if you click on it, it's probably in the block sites from running Flash section. But if you turn that on to ask first, then it'll ask to use Flash. I'm hoping this works. Okay, so once again, in settings, you type in Flash, you go to the site settings where it comes up on, you scroll down to where Flash is highlighted, you drop down the menu, and you click on this little thing here to say, so that it says ask first. And then you want to click on the link. Okay, you want to click on the link, and hopefully it will allow you to access this, because the graphic is pretty cool, and I want you guys to Oh, click on the lock and then click allow instead of ask first. So Valerie is sharing an alternative method. Click on the lock. Oh, right there. That's faster. Wow, Valerie, you're awesome. Right there. You click on this lock right here and you click on allow for flash. Okay, instead of block, you want to click on allow. And it should ask you to reload. And once you reload, no. Mine just disappeared. Oh no. No, 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 no. Why must it do this to me? Okay, so the other alternative, I'm sorry, it's bad timing, people. The other alternative is you can still answer the majority of your questions by looking at this information. And then if you click on original screenshot, it'll take you to the original screenshot of everyone. Okay. And you'll be able to look at it. Okay. So for some of us, it's going to work. For some of us, it's not. And unfortunately, that's just because of Adobe. It's Flash. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't think there's any more Flash player. It's just being really annoying. Run this time. Maybe if I click run this time, I don't know. Nope, nope, technological difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. So you can use this screenshot of the data to look at it right here. Scroll down, you can look at everyone. But the cool thing is if you were able to see the graphic, you could actually change it based on group and see the differences based on the group. Based on different groups here. I'm still, okay. So either way, I'm giving you guys, we've wasted a lot of time because of Adobe, unfortunately. So I'm gonna give you guys 8 minutes to try to use the graphic to the best of your ability. Maybe try opening with your phone, it might work on your phone. 8 minutes to explore and answer these 4 questions in your IDS journal, okay? 8 minutes to explore and answer these 4 questions in your IDS journal. Luckily, these questions can be answered without having to play with the graphic, all right? So there you go. I'm putting the timer on now for 8 minutes, starting now. Okay, we have about a minute left. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's take a look at the questions that we had to answer for our observations here, our exploration. Okay, so what variables are represented in this graphic? Okay, well, we have different types of variables, right? We had variables that had to do with how Americans spent their time, right, during their day. So you could have sleeping, you could have eating, you could have traveling, socializing, working, school. Maddie just listed them all in the chat. Thank you, Maddie. Well done. Yeah, so all of those, all the different categories that people could have chosen as what they were spending their time doing, right? Okay, next we had explain what the graphic is telling you. Well, what the graphic is telling us was actually at the very top of the graphic. It was the little blurb that we had explaining what we're looking at, right? So our graphic shows us how much Americans over the age of 15 are spending doing these activities, how much time, right? This information is broken down by different categories. So if a flash had been working, we could have looked at the comparison of the graphs of the genders, like male versus female, and seen if there was any difference in work and like household activities and socializing and computer and things like that, right? So we could have also looked at it. So those of us that were able to look at it and then had the graphic still working, were able to play around with it and compare different graphs, right? We were also able to see the average time spent on particular activities. So, how much time was spent at work for Americans, or the average amount of time spent for work was 3 hours and 25 minutes. I don't know who's working like that little hours to make the average that low, but heck, I want their job. Um, uh, you could also look at like the percentage of people doing a certain thing at a certain time. So 5% of Americans are working at 6 a.m. versus if you look at like 10 a.m., I'm sure that percentage goes up significantly, right? Where did the data come from? It tells us they surveyed thousands of Americans over the age of 15 who took that survey, recalling every minute of a day in 2008. Okay, so remember, this is 2008. I'm sure if they did this survey now, those categories, certain categories would be vastly different, right? And then what are some interesting findings that you guys had? If you noticed anything interesting, please put it in the chat. You can just copy and paste it from what you wrote down in your graphs. For the sake of time, eating and socializing are similar. Okay, good. Because a lot of times we socialize while we eat, right? Work takes up more time than socializing for sure. What I found interesting about this graph is that education is not one of the majorities of how different groups spend their day. The majorities are eating and drinking, work, household activities, traveling, TV and movies, socializing and sleeping. Yes, people do not socialize much. Very true. Phone calls and sports are the smallest out of all other leisures that are on the graph. Right on, David. Um, I will tell you though, if you look at age groups, right? If you looked at 15 to 24-year-olds, the time spent on education increases significantly. Um, I wasn't able to play with the graphic to show you guys, but if you look at like the different age groups, it increases significantly for education. More people are working and socializing. People don't socialize. Yeah, because a lot of times too, we don't socialize for the sake of socializing. Like we'll eat and we'll socialize while we're eating, or we're at work and we'll socialize while we're working. So great notices, guys. Well done for the limitations that we had with that graphic. Well done. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at this Washington Post article. Okay, we're gonna look at this Washington Post article, but can I come back to this for a quick second? I want to talk to you guys about our new campaign before we do the Washington Post article. We can end the class with the Washington Post article, but I want to make sure that I'm not rushing through the explanation of our new campaign. So I want to talk to you guys about this first. That Adobe thing really threw us off track. So our new campaign to track, ladies and gents, we are going to be tracking the time use participatory sensing campaign, okay? You need to collect data on this 4 times a day. Please listen to me. 4 times a day, okay? Before school, after school, in the evening. So in the evening could mean like after dinner, right? And then before bed. 4 times a day. If everyone makes a commitment to collect data 4 times a day, we will not have to collect data for very long. Okay, this is meant to be only collected for a week. But if people don't collect data 4 times a day, then we don't get enough information to get an analysis, to be able to make a graph and analyze. So for a week, I need you all to commit to collecting data 4 times a day, before school, after school, in the evening, so around dinner time, and before bed. Okay? Now, what you're going to do is you're doing this through your IDS app. Okay, so if you remember your IDS app, right? It's IDS UCLA. It's this app right here. Nope, that one right there. Okay. When you click on it, you can go to your campaigns, right? You may go to campaigns. So if you click on this, the hamburger here, wait, hold on. You click on the hamburger here, this way. Okay, we get campaigns. Click on campaigns. Okay, and it brings up all of our different campaigns. Okay, this is alphabetical. So you want to scroll all the way down, okay, to time use. Now there's 2 time ones. There's time perception, and then there's time use. You want to click on the time use. Click on the arrow to download it. Okay, I'm trying to look at this backwards. Click on the arrow to download it. And then once it's downloaded, you're going to click on it to open it, and you get your period 4 time use campaign. And you're going to click on time use, and you're going to input your information. So the first question it asks you is, which day are you collecting data? So you're going to start collecting data from today. So today will be day 1, okay? Today will be day 1. So today you're only going to be putting in 3 sets of data. So you're going to be putting in data 3 times, after school, in the evening, and before bed. Okay. So day 1 today, hit next, and then it asks you, since filling out your last survey, what activities have you participated in? So you check off which activities you have participated in. So if you follow the format right, so before school, you would probably put sleeping for sure, because you just slept, right? You'll put like maybe you ate breakfast right before school. So you'll put eating, and maybe you watched TV, maybe you, I don't know, whatever you did, right? Since going to bed and then before school. And then when you put it in after school, you'll put in the things that you did from right before, from the last survey you put in. So what you did from school starting to after school. And then after school to about dinner time for in the evening, and then dinner time to bedtime. So you're putting in the 4 increments of information, okay? 4 times a day. That's your homework for today. Your homework is literally to complete the time use campaign. It's going to be for the next week. I need you guys to do it so that we can collect our data, and we can stop collecting data after a week. If we don't have enough data collected, if people are not collecting data, then we're going to have to continue collecting data much, much longer. Okay. So I need everyone to make that commitment to collect data using our IDS UCLA app. Okay. No, yes, sorry, Natalie. Natalie asked a good question. So every time you input it today, you're going to be putting it in for day 1. Okay. So today is all day 1. Tomorrow, when you put it in for before school, that will be then day 2. And then every time you put it in tomorrow, the 4 times you put it in tomorrow will be day 2. Okay. And then the 3rd day will be day 3. The 4th day, the 4 times will be day 4. The 5th day, the 4 times will be day 5. Yeah. Okay. So we're organizing it by day. Okay. And then it asks you how much time you spent doing each thing. So you'll be specific there. So 4 times a day for the next 5 to 7 days. Okay. And again, that all depends on you guys. If everyone puts in their data for the next 5 to 7 days, then we'll be done collecting data. But if people aren't collecting data and we don't have enough data, we're going to have to take it into the 2nd week. Okay. And that puts an unnecessary stress on the kids that are putting in data, and those of us that aren't are really holding us back. Okay. All right. So that's our homework for today, or for the next 5 days, I should say. So let's go back to our Washington Post article. Okay. You are going to read an article about Americans' daily time use. Teens are spending more time consuming social media on mobile devices. You are going to then answer the questions at the bottom of the article. Okay. Now, here's a little bit of a disclaimer. When reading a newspaper, magazine, or blog that includes statistical analysis, it is important to evaluate, aka think carefully, about claims that these articles state as facts. Okay. Many articles like to make a statement using statistics, and they make it sound like a fact, when in reality, it's just an interpretation. So we want to be very wary of articles using statistical analysis and stating something as if it's a fact, when in reality, it's an interpretation. Okay. So where can you find this? You can find this on your page, your course page here. Going, is this the right one? That's a period 6, sorry. Period 4 here, right here.
Do this for, do you have to do this like on the weekends too?
The data collection?
Yeah.
Yes, until our next until next Tuesday.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you for that clarification, Alexander. So Alexander asked, should we collect data over the weekends? Absolutely. Okay. Set timers for yourself, please, guys. If you can use your phone timers, or you can use the reminder in the IDS app itself. Okay. So on our Washington Post Live assignment, if you click on the second bullet point here, Washington Post Live, it's going to ask you to make a copy of our Washington Post document. When you do, you will be brought to the actual, so I've copied and pasted the article on a Google Doc for you. And then at the end of the Google Doc, you have your questions to answer right here, okay? When you are done answering these questions, you will then submit this, okay? So I want us to spend the next 10 minutes of class time working on this and submit it when you're done. We will start our next class period with this discussion, okay? We will start our next class period with this discussion. So you guys are working on reading the article, clarifying directions here. We're gonna read through the article. You're gonna answer these questions right here. When you are done answering these questions, remember, complete sentences, okay? I want you to submit it so it's not late, okay? Submit it, and we will begin our next class period with the discussion of these questions, okay? So I'm going to mute myself now and allow you guys to work.